They usually say, first of all, good afternoon, and I'm back with you like a bad penny. Never goes out. Whatever way you throw it, it comes back to you. So I'm back with you like a bad penny. But I've been given an opportunity to talk on something very unique with Dr. Bhavani Shankar, very beautifully described, is the partnership between school education system and university education system and how to bridge the two. So I do appreciate there is no bridge today. And let's create the bridge. Together, let the schools and the universities, I request Dr. Vivek and Professor Anubha to say, let us champion the cause of bridging the university system with the school system to see bring all school educators and university educators next year or even this year on a full day conference and see what happens. Let the magic happen. Let us understand what happens in the school system, what happens in the university system, and by talking to each other, how do we bridge the gap and how do we make the students from schools university ready, and how can the universities interact with the schools and train the students for a university education. Let's do something together, sir. So coming back to the topic I've been given, challenges and opportunities in post-secondary education, I see this in a multi-dimensional problem. It is a problem. Because the very fact that till now we say the schools and universities are not talking to each other is a fundamental problem. So if you go to the schools first, and without meaning any offense to anyone, I'm trying to understand the system from outside in. I'm not an educator. So I'm able to give a neutral view by looking at it for a problem from outside, like an independent consultant. I'm able to look at certain things, maybe right, maybe wrong. But my view is that, first of all, the two are not integrated. There's no networking, there's no connection, nothing happens between the two. They're isolated bridges. And there's no bridge also. In the school system, from what we know, is driven by one simple goal: grades. The students have to get grade, marks, marks, marks. 98%, 99%, whatever percentage that you need to get, so that whatever you want to do next stage in your life, you can only get that if you get that 98 or 99%. In my view, that's completely wrong. Because we are judging the student based on marks obtained in one exam, spread over, let's say, 5 or 6 days, one board final exam, whichever board it is. Maybe that day the kid was sick. Maybe the kid had a mental illness. Maybe he had a depression. Maybe he had a breakdown. Maybe he had family issues. You never know what happens in 360-degree of the life of the student. Maybe the student didn't sleep the previous night because it's just the stress. And then to say, okay, this is the mark and based on which you're going to give you admission. There's something wrong with the system itself. Number two, our higher education authorities have obviously recognized that problem. Instead of fixing the problem at the school level, they've introduced a new problem in between the university and the school. That's called the entrance exam problem. Just pardon me if I'm trying to be a little intrusive into the educator's role, which I'm not, but just take an outside viewpoint as a commentator. Now, if the school system was so good, and the marks that you're getting from school system was so good, we should be able to, even if we have 4 boards. Today it's possible to do statistical comparison of the board exams and say that, okay, you normalize them to 1 grade. Whatever board you are in, IB board, Cambridge board, or what you call CBSE board or state board, you can normalize it using statistical technique to one grade. And that unified grade, if you take for admission, then there will be no need for entrance tests at all. But now we are not sure how to do it, or we don't want to do it. I don't understand the reason for not doing it, because it's a very simple normalizing technique. We do it in business all the time. We do, for example, performance appraisal for people across the streams, across the companies, across countries, across continents. We do normalization globally on how the people perform and convert it to a statistical convergence method, and then you say, okay, this is the unified grade that you get after individual grades have been given. If you've done that system, then you don't need all this alphabet soup of entrance exam, NEET, JEET, whatever you have. Then you put the student through a second round of mental illness. I think the mental illness is caused by all these problems. Then the student is driven by saying, I need to get JEE so much here, only then I get NIT, or I get medical admission, or I get this, or whatever, get something else. So the student is completely at a loss to do another round examination. Now the first problem itself is complicated. So then the government has come up with a solution to say you can't afford to do it. Then they introduce another examination on 11th standard, so that you don't miss the examinations of 11th standard. So you post it in 11th standard, and 12th standard you again come back and you have to do 12th standard examination. So you have 10th, 11th, 12th, 3 levels of board examination in the state. Now you go into the business of training institution. This is a huge amount of money spinner. If the education system at the school level had clearly identified the need of the student, and if you are able to offer a seat or a course or a pathway to the student to that undergraduate degree, in my opinion, there would be no training center needed. All of 7 lakh students are going abroad. All these countries don't have an entrance test. So why are we having this huge business in the middle of NEET, JEE, and all of this examination, and put the student through another round of tests? The kid wakes up at 5 in the morning, and 6 to 8 or 6 to 9 they have classes, training classes, and then 10 to whatever, 9 to 4 they have school, then again 5 to 8 they have classes, training classes, they go to sleep, next day morning the whole thing, chapter begins. So where is the life of the student? We're dealing with a kid. Let's understand that. The kid which is like 14 or 15-year-old, they need to have other activities for their development. They need to have sports. They need to have extracurricular activities. They need to have outdoor activities. They need to have travel. They need to experience life, camps. We completely remove that from the student life, because we're focusing only on marks, marks, marks. And of course, the parents are largely to be blamed. If you're saying watching TV for half an hour, then they say, oh, go study. You're watching TV for too long. And of course, there are other distractions that come up in social media, and the student is tormented between multiple pulls and pressures on various sides. So now the entrance exam stuff is done. The student goes to a university. The university is a bigger challenge, because they come to the university, they think, oh, finally I've got freedom. No parents to control, no board examination, no coaching center, no morning 5 till night 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock ritual. So I have freedom here. They actually freak out in the first year of university. It's very difficult for us to bring them to get together to do study, do group projects, assignments, sports, interaction, whatever else. Because their mind is, they think, oh, now I'm out of the whole marks and grading system, I can do pretty much what I like. And all of this is happening in a context in the university where the student does not know what they want to do next. All that they know is they want a job. Or they know that their parents have pushed them into a particular direction and they want to succeed in that direction. The shocking thing is, in the school system, at least the school education is seen as education. In the university, when they come into the university, basic purpose of education, which is to acquire knowledge, is forgotten. Everybody looks at education when they come to university as a business. Now is the turn of the parents to look at this. Until now, the other people are looking at it as a business. In the university, the parents look at it as a business. And I'm telling you from my own personal experience. The parents come to us, they don't care much about your NAC, NIRF ranking and all of that stuff. Or your Times ranking, QS ranking, whether you have it or not, they don't care. All they want to know is, what is your placement percentage? The kid will not even come to first year. They're not even admitted. But the parents want to know, what is your placement percentage at the university? What is the average seat? That means when you finish the school or the university undergraduate program, how much salary my son or daughter will get when they go into job? Average cost to company, the salary. Is it 5 lakhs or 7 lakhs or 10 lakhs? How much you get? Third parameter they have is, what is the highest salary university students have got? Meaning, has anyone from university gone to Google on that, whatever you see, newspaper ads, student passed out, got 1.2 crore salary. I mean, obviously one in several thousands will get that opportunity, but they want to know if you university qualified. They're not judging the university by the faculty or the curriculum or the method of teaching, the opportunity the student has, the international MOUs or linkages in academic development, acquiring knowledge. That concept is not there. Now, because the parent is now looking at the ROI, what we call in business return on investment. So, the parents want to say, okay, for 4 years in undergraduate program, for my son or daughter, I'm going to be spending so much on fees and so much for hostel. So, that mind is okay, in 4 years, I'm going to be spending 18 lakhs. Okay, so, how many years will it take for me to get it back? At 6 lakhs is 3 years. If you have to, if they're economists or chart economists, they'll calculate, inflation index, cost of living index, purchasing power, and then they say if you reduce it, so it's taking 4 years to study and 4 years to pay back. It's not a great business to be in. If you look at it purely as a business. So institutions are not evaluated based on obviously the merits of the institution or the faculty or the courses, but they're evaluated based on the compensation, placement record, and highest salary tier. There are institutions in higher education, universities, which are thriving on this. They build institutions where I can say they show 100% placement record. Very simple. Whoever they couldn't place last year, they hire them as a junior faculty for next year. Just imagine the first time this student did get placed because this may be something deficient in the student. Something is not as good as a expected average student or above average student. Now that student get a job, that student becomes a faculty next year. What will the next batch of students get? Over a period of 5 years, 10 years, if you see the amount of faculty that get replaced from those who were not placed, in the marketing brochure it looks amazing, 100% placement record. Cost to company, so you can add it also. But as the student gaining, no sir, they're losing. Because they're getting taught by not the best of faculty, but they're getting taught by people who couldn't get job elsewhere. So from a university perspective, there's a huge problem. The parents' mind is a problem. University school side, there's a problem. And of all of that, there's another dimension to this, which is a psychological dimension to it. one of the visiting professors in Sai University, Professor Michael Gazzaniga, Professor of Psychology from University of California at Santa Barbara. He is for all those who from psychology will understand. He is the author of the left brain, right brain theory. So according to him, there's another dimension to this problem, which I'm mapping onto our problem. His theory is there's a left brain, the right brain, and of course the front lobe. Says that the early years in a student, the left brain and the right brain develop independently. They're not connected. That's how in his books he says that even if you tell a child, this fire don't touch, the child understands his fire not to touch. The instruction is very clear and interesting, understood. But the child will go and touch. Because understanding and execution are not interconnected. That ability is not there in the brain of the child. At that age, let's say, teenagers. Only when the front lobe is connected to the left and right brain, then they have integration between thought and action, which happen, according to Professor Gazzaniga, in the age group of roughly 20, 21, 22, which is by the time they finish undergraduate degree. So when they're in university, they still left brain and right brain are separate. When they come out from school, their left brain and right brain are separate. And when they graduate from the university, they fully developed brain, fully functional brain. They can understand thought and action very well. Now, from the student perspective, from a purely psychological brain, neuroscience development, if you see this problem as a huge, huge dimension. The student clearly understands the instruction, don't do this. They don't even need to reason. They say, don't do this. They understand. But they just go and do it. So you'll have to see it as a psychological problem from the student perspective. So if you map all this together, from the time they leave a school system, from marks-oriented, I must tell you that 100% is considered great. That means the student hasn't done anything else. And I see that there are some universities or colleges in Delhi take pride in saying, our admission cutoff is 100%. I happened to meet one of them. Then I said, why do you need faculty? If the student is so good to get 100%, the student is capable of studying and getting a degree on his or her own. Why do you need somebody to teach? They can sign up for MIT Open Courseware and get an MIT degree without going for even use a classroom or any classroom. What is the role of faculty? Because I think learning happens in the classroom, one from faculty, second from the student learning on their own, and third from interacting among students. Interaction learning between students is perhaps the highest. I had an occasion to meet a former director of IIT Madras and asked him, how are the students doing? IIT Madras is a very prestigious institution. He said, sir, you know very well, in IIT Madras we don't teach very much. They learn themselves. They learn themselves because of peer pressure to compete among themselves. And number two, they learn themselves by working together. The faculty are not teaching very much. They teach, he says, 1 hour a day. Maybe we give them some assignments and go back to my room and do my paper publication. I'm not teaching full time. I write my research articles, I write my books. So now you see that is 100% required for admission to a college or a university, then you'll dropping out, let's say, 99% of the student population from your institution. And you're certainly dropping out the underprivileged from the institution because they don't possibly even have electricity or internet at home to learn. And you're putting them in a situation of competing with the people who are advanced. They have advantage of development in their home. Parents are educated, they have electricity, they have air conditioner, they have internet, they have all forms of learning available to them and coaching centers. So they're at an advantage to get higher grades or higher marks. So then what is the concept of the education institution? Whether it's a school or a higher education, a college or university. In my view, our role is to provide an environment for students to acquire knowledge. In my view, education is to acquire knowledge, not to acquire grades, not to acquire marks. For example, Sai University entrance system has been designed with 5 parameters, not 1. We do take normalized score from the boards, 1. Second, we take a letter of recommendation from the school, either a counselor or a teacher or a principal, because we know that the school knows the student better than us, because the student has spent many years in this institution. Then we take the extracurricular activity of the student. They give weightage for extracurricular, whether it's sports, as music, or dance, whatever else, debates, quizzes, we give weightage for that. We give weightage for any test they've taken. We don't force one more test on them. If they're not taking any test, we tell them please take one test because they're required by UGC and independent auditors to see that we are not giving preferred seats to anybody. So we give them a test, and for example, Bar Council insists that we need to have a test. So the test becomes the 4th parameter, and 5th, every student who applies to Sai University gets a 20 minutes interaction with a member of the admission team or a faculty team. Every student. So that helps the student understand the university, allows the university to understand the student. Now, based on a 360-degree evaluation of the student, we offer the admission. Now, the minimum is only 70% marks. They're not 99. But the students are doing great. Just to give you an example, you're a young university, you're only going to be in a 4th year now. But we have, for example, our computer science students in their robotic lab, micro robotic lab last year, they competed at IIT Bombay. It's a national competition. All over India, several colleges and universities participated. And Sai University came joint runner with IIT Bombay, who were the founders of the micro robot. They invented the micro robot. They were no first, we were joint second. They haven't done badly. Then IIT Bombay students who possibly got 95% plus in JEE, right? So we have got them at 70 or 75 plus whatever. Our education system is bringing them up. So isn't that the role of a university to educate, provide knowledge, teach, and make sure the student understands? If the student doesn't understand, faculty have officers where they can give them clarification, coaching, their teaching assistants, research fellows, who can give all of these guidances. And the idea is to help the students learn. Some learn fast, some learn average, some learn slow. So each one has a pathway by interacting with the selected faculty member. So that becomes the university's responsibility to provide knowledge. But when the student gets a job, is it the university's responsibility? Because companies select other things also. Companies select based on not only your knowledge, but based on your communication skills, your personality, quote unquote, your team working capabilities or group discussion capabilities, and all of that stuff. But the parents judge the university or an academic higher education institution based on the percentage of jobs given to students, average C2C, and the maximum C2C. So the whole system has completely gone lopsided. Nobody asks the university in US what's their placement record, because most of them don't offer placement. Most American universities do not offer placements. But in India, you are not only expected to offer placement, that becomes the proof of your success. So, from marks-driven system to rupee-driven system at the end of it is where the entire education system is being evaluated on a completely non-academic metric. It's not an academic metric. How many of your students got into some course, some university? How many of your students got into postgraduate program in Stanford or Harvard? Or how many of your students got into something else? It could be a test that you can apply just to understand the university. But that cannot be the only measure, because you're not measuring the knowledge gained by the student. And all of this we're doing, present company included. I just want to wake up those who are having a siesta after lunch. Very clearly say, the present company in this hall included, we don't know what the world is going to be looking like 20 years from now. Let's understand that. Nobody can guess. So how can we train the student for that area? The present student who is coming into the university has a working life of at least 40 to 45 years. They're going to be joining the university, let's say at 17, 18, let's understand. They leave the university at 21, undergrad. Even if they do a postgraduate 23, 24, they have until 65 to retire. They have 40 plus years of working life. So when they leave the university, they have to see like what the student is going to be doing 40 years from now. None of us know. Maybe we'll all be living in Mars. Who knows? With the pollution and water situation, power situation here, maybe we'll migrate to another planet. Are we making our students ready for it? No. Maybe we'll get into a situation where AI will replace many jobs, including teachers. I recently saw an article on the net that a Japanese professor has cloned himself in a robot, and he's trained the robot to teach exactly what he's teaching. And for a few classrooms, he sent the robot instead of him. And the robot is made to look exactly like him, dress, appearance, everything. The robot delivers the same thing, except there's no interaction in the class. The robot teaches the class and comes back. So if we have improvised models of this emerging in the next few years with the development of AI, or with the development of AI replacing many jobs in the industry, newer jobs will get created. Obviously, it's not going to lead to unemployment, but it's going to create a huge social change. Are we preparing any of our students to be prepared for that social change? We are not. Because we ourselves don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what jobs are going to be lost, what new jobs are going to come. We don't know what to train them. So we train them on traditionally what is known. Known subjects, known topics, known curriculum. And then we say known testing mechanism, and say we give a transcript grade and say, okay, you go ahead now. This batch next. So the challenge, if you look at it overall, from the school to the testing centers to the university or college, and then the job market, this whole thing chain is not linked together, and nobody has a view of the future. Because we don't know the future. And the only way, therefore, we can do an education system is at least to say, to the extent that we know, like Dr. Bhavan said, to the extent that we know, the schools and universities say, okay, we bridge our gap now. We prepare the school students to come into this branch, like they have to select in some standard in the school where they want to take maths, 11th and 12th in maths, or they're going to take a sciences in maths, or they're going to take arts in 11th and 12th. They make as a basic decision at 8th and 9th standard, I presume. So like that, we have to make some changes in the career of the student. a certain checkpoint Charlies. And then from that point, we give the student a pathway to the university, and the university has prepared a pathway for each of these incoming students, which will be different than what they give for others. So they have to have separate pathways for each of these streams coming from the school system. And if we do it together, we do it well, we can remove the complete middle chain of training centers, and we can make the student go, what do you call, synchronously between the school system and the university system. And that's my view. Thank you for your time.